What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. And, hot CPI number. How's the Fed going to cut rates? That's the question that I have. This whole rally has been based on that. And, of course, the markets are soaring this morning, which makes no sense. But, hey, again, we just trade them. We don't care. We don't evaluate the decisions. We just trade them. And as we take a look at our board here, there isn't much to do here. And there hasn't been much to do all morning, quite frankly. So we'll sit back and watch, but while we're waiting, we'll just take a look at our list we've been watching. And of course, last week we said to be a buyer of Apple down around 170, not necessarily a buyer, but a seller of put spreads, which has worked out fine. Amazon, we were looking to sell call spreads, which worked out fine. Coin, we were a seller of call spreads, which worked out fine. Again, look, they don't always work out this good. They don't always aren't this easy, but you are in extreme conditions right now. You are very overbought or very oversold in many different markets. Meta has been very wild, but notice it was overbought, came right back to the mean, and now it's back trying to get back to overbought again. So again, it's just something that you have to, focus on when you look. Okay, we talked about Google down towards here when it was oversold. Look, the bounce. So again, it's they're not always going to work. They're not always going to be this easy. But it's the consistency and the repetition that you give it. And again, the markets will change and times will change as well when we change the style of what we're using. But these types of trades that we've been using recently are good for all the time. These are things we would use in addition to, making a trade or making a bigger trade. And I think you have to understand that as well when you're looking at the markets of trade. And I'm just going to take a quick peek back over here to make sure we're not missing anything that might come available to us. No, not really. Again, the bottom line is all I have to do is look for volume to get to about there right now. Okay. And if it doesn't get there, then there's nothing for me to trade anyways. Okay. So again, there isn't a lot to do. It is not very exciting at the moment. So we'll wait and see. It looks like there might be something coming in crude oil. You can see that it is going straight up, and the volume is trying to reach. So we'll see. We'll watch this for a minute and see what goes on. But again, I have to remind you that whatever we do, there's always risk. I mean, there's no such thing as a no risk trade. All we're trying to do is take the high probability trades and give ourselves the best opportunity and the best chance to be successful. And then if we do that, then we're going to be able to have more winners and losers and be able to grind it out. And that's basically what this business is about, is grinding it out. Okay. But it doesn't appear, you can see we'll call it the lack of speed to the move. And already crude's giving it up. So it's not like it's going to be a trade. So we'll come back and check these out. But let's go back to our main board in GLD. Okay. Very overbought. So you're getting a little bit of a sell-off today. It should not be a surprise to anybody that these things happen. Markets don't go straight up or straight down, even in the most dire circumstances, like in 2008. There was many times the markets were way down, but then they'd be up 1,000 before going lower. It's the trend that you're looking for. It's the direction that you're looking for. But know that a certain amount of percentages, one way or the other, is going to give you a little bit of a retracement. And that is what really makes the overall trend, is the retracement that we get to see, and which we're trying to take advantage of. Okay. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is our ability to take advantage of what is right in front of us, instead of trying to figure out, what's going to happen 6 months from now. I'm happy if I can figure out what's going to happen 20 minutes from now. Okay. And again, we're using the tools that we have to give us the greatest probability and the greatest shot at making the most amount of money. Okay. That's all. It's that simple. Now, again, we're not seeing, a lot of action. So there really isn't something for us to go ahead and trade here yet. So where are we at? We got a couple of minutes. So we'll go back and check out what's going on here. IWM, okay, again, was overbought. We had sold call spreads, and boom, here we come down. Moderna, we don't trade here, but again, Moderna would have been a potential short this morning. Okay, again, very overbought into resistance off of a blow-off, a daily blow-off. So that would have been something to consider earlier. Microsoft was oversold. It's bouncing off. So again, we don't care. We don't care what is going on. Okay, what we care about is what does the chart tell us. Okay, I could care less about the news. I want to be able to react to the news when it comes out. Okay, that's what I'm looking at, not the rest. Okay, I want to look at. I want the chart and the market to tell me what to do, not try to figure out how the markets are going to act to the news. I want to react to that afterwards. Okay, so as we come back here, getting a little bit of a sell-off, but again, there's no real action here, so it's not really triggering a potential buy yet. Okay, and crude is very slow, so we'll go back and we'll come back again a little bit. Nvidia got sold off from being overbought, went right back down to support, and is bouncing right back into resistance. I think that, again, any of these that are at the top end of the range are candidates for call spreads. Now, I prefer to deal in the 0 DTEs first, okay, and then the IWM is tomorrow, okay. I like to deal in the shortest term, the shortest time frame possible for selling, because again, I get to do it over and over again. Number one, number two, they expire, so I don't have to, I don't have to worry about them right now, and then it could change. Now this week there is more news. There's PPI on Thursday, and of course there's retail sales, and there's also a triple witching expiration this week. And not that means anything. The triple witching expiration today is not what it was years ago, but it will create a little bit more volume on Friday. And the ex-dividend and the SPY is another thing to be careful of. So again, you don't want to sell in the money call spreads into the dividend, because you'll get assigned on one side. But again, and so Nvidia, the Qs, again, they're right. They came down to the mean, are bouncing up a little bit. Square the call spreads need to be sold there. The SPY call spreads need to be sold there. Tesla put spreads need to be sold here. So we don't have a side. We don't care. We'll take either side. So now that we're watching, let's see what's going on here. And there is very, very little action to really report on, unfortunately. And this is rather typical in a market that is trying to soar higher. I mean, if we look at the VIX is selling off a little bit. Okay. And look where it's selling off from overbought conditions. So again, remember that is what you're trying to realize is, where does the market put you in the best position? That is our job all the time, is to be in the best spot we can possibly put ourselves in, okay, and not try to outsmart or outthink or outdo the market, because again, there's no action today. So it would be a day that, if I were saying to you, well, take the day off, don't worry about it now, because there's nothing to really do right now. And one of the things I do know from being around this business for a while is that many times people forget that there's nothing to do, and then they start to see the mirage of a potential trade, which is not necessarily really a trade, but because they're sitting there, they want to trade. You want to get involved. And that is always my warning to you, is you don't have to always get involved. That's the real key to remember, is, sometimes, hey, it just makes sense to watch. Observation of the market is just as important as other things, and learning to observe, okay, is important as well. Okay. And I think that when you learn that, okay, I think you'll find that you'll be much happier over time, because you'll make a lot less mistakes, and you'll put yourself in a much better position. And I think if you do that, you'll realize that you don't have to be involved all the time. You can make a lot of money trading in a short period of time without getting yourself over involved. And basically, so what are we seeing starting to develop here? You're starting to see the NASDAQ, which was very overbought on a short-term basis as well. Now it's starting to consolidate. So now it's getting ready. So when a market is consolidating, it is relieving that oversold or overbought condition by going sideways. Okay. And then it'll make a decision which way it'll break from there. And I think that's one of the other mistakes that too many of us make, is not realizing that sometimes, again, this is right now, as it sits, since we've been together this morning for the last 10 minutes, it's been very much of a challenge to trade. There has been no trades to make other than some of the spreads we talked about selling. Okay. Now, again, those are something you can do because the risk, you have to use a stop there because the trade itself has a max amount of risk to it. Okay. But the futures trading right now is nil. There is not much to do. Okay. And I don't see anything forthcoming here as we watch. But you never know. Again, the markets do not announce themselves, nor do they tell you when they're going to do what they're going to do. So we have to be either watching. Now, again, on a day like today, as I see it already and been watching for hours, to me, I would say, hell, I'm taking the rest of the day off. I can always check. I'm never going to be too far from a computer if something changes. But you could be doing some studying. You could be doing some learning now instead of trying to figure out and find a trade in a market that right now is, I would call this untradeable on a short-term basis, because there is no real pullbacks. There is no real trading. It's just kind of drifting, and then it pops higher, and then it drifts, and then it pops a little bit higher right now. And again, that could change, and we've got a few minutes to go here, but right now, where am I going? Where am I going to find an edge in this market to trade? And remember, all you're ever looking for is the edge. So where is my edge here? I don't see it. So should I do something here? The answer is no. I shouldn't do anything here. I should be watching and observing and looking for a potential opportunity. But if it doesn't show up, okay, then guess what? Okay, then I won't trade. Okay, I'll sit here and watch and do nothing. Okay, I'll do other things. Okay, I will study. I will look for other positions. But I will not force myself into this market because I have nothing to trade off. Okay, any trade I make right now would be strictly a guess. Okay, any trade now would strictly being, I have to get involved, and I don't ever have to get involved. That's the key. Okay, and then it'll go one way and go, I missed that. Well, no, you didn't miss anything. What you did is you saved your inventory, which is your cash. Okay, and didn't put yourself in jeopardy. Okay, and I think that's something that you have to remember as well, is keeping your nose clean, as they say, so that it allows you the opportunity to be in the business and to be around when it does get busy, because it will get busy. And when it does get busy, we want to be able to trade it when it gets busy. Okay, and if you're blowing your brains out now, well, it's not busy. Well, again, you're taking a less than 50-50 probability trade, number one. Number two, you're putting yourself at risk for no reason. So why would I want to go ahead and do that when I can just simply, keep my hands in my pocket and not do anything? And, I think you have to remember that, the markets are open 241 days a year, and I don't have to do anything today. Okay. Again, I'd like to. Okay, we made some trades this morning, but they were basically small profits. Okay, and they weren't very active. And again, you have to be willing to not trade. You have to be willing to watch. Okay, because if you're not, then you're always going to be involved, and you're going to make a lot of bad decisions. And this is again what we're talking about. You got a very slow, tenuous market with very light volume right now. Okay, so as we look, just down the road and see if there's anything to look at, again, I go back to Tesla. Here I'd like to sell some put spreads. I mean, again, nothing has changed. I'd like to sell some call spreads here, which I already did. I mean, it doesn't take long to make that decision because, again, I'm at an overbought. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't get more overbought, but again, what I have to remember is where am I at? Where's my opportunity? And how do I make the best of it? And I think if you learn that and you do that, you'll be much happier over the long haul. Okay. And it'll make you much more money, and it'll also cut down your losses. Okay. When things are like that. Okay. And I think that again brings the value of learning and understanding how the market functions and what you should be looking for. Okay. So again, we'll look here for a couple more minutes and see. I mean, it would appear to me that we aren't going to get any trades. That would be my early guess here. Now, from a charting standpoint, certainly here's consolidation and I am at the top end, but I'm not really looking to make that trade in this market because it's just too damn slow. So if it's so slow, again, it's if you remember that dull markets will drift and then have an occasional sharp move. Well, if that sharp move is against you into your stop, it doesn't work out too well for you. And I think that's something that you always have to keep in mind and remember, that put yourself in a position to be successful. Try to keep yourself out of those positions, because even when you're in the right position, it doesn't mean it's going to win. Okay. Good trades sometimes don't win. Bad trades sometimes do win. But if you continue to make the good trades all the time, then you're putting yourself in a much better position over time for success versus if you put yourself in the bad trades. Okay. And that is the difference in the markets, is to be able to put yourself in a good position on every trade. Again, great trades don't always make money. Okay. Great trades lose money sometimes because, again, they just go against you. But if you did everything right, and that's why you want to also, at the end of every day or so, you'd like to go back and look at some of your trades, win or lose, and to do, as we call it, a post-mortem, to kind of get a view as to, did you do it right? Were you seeing the right information? Was that what you needed to be doing at the time? Okay. And again, it may sound silly, but you will teach yourself and be able to learn from that. Okay. If you go back and do a little bit of a post-mortem on all of your trades. Okay. I think that too many of us take for granted, well, it's just, we're just flipping around. And again, you can have a much greater understanding of the markets, if you study them a little bit, because these chart patterns that we look at, they repeat themselves over and over again, and they repeat themselves in all time frames. So, remember for yourself that you don't have to put yourself in jeopardy. You don't have to put yourself in a bad position. Okay. You can sit and wait. You can wait for what you want. Okay. You don't need to go into it if you don't want it. Okay. And just because you're here doesn't mean that you should be trading. Okay. Sometimes, as they say, it is better to observe the market than be active, because at the end of the day, these markets right now are extremely challenging. There is very little room for error. And even if you do perfect, there still is not enough movement back and forth, because who here can pick the exact exit point up or down? Okay. And that's, again, these are little things that we think about, and that many of us don't, use those tools in our ability to trade. So again, to end today, I just want to remind you, be careful. Listen, the markets are open a lot. When it's busy, we will more than make up for the times we didn't trade now. But while you're waiting, you can sell those spreads, either the puts or call spreads, and anything you want that qualifies. And when we get busy enough to trade the futures, we'll trade those too. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here on Thursday, same time, same station, Trading Live with Bubba. Have a great day, everybody.
All opinions expressed by Tradier Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradier Inc. is the parent company of Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. and Tradier Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradier Inc., all rights reserved, member FINRA SIPC.